Resident Evil 4.
Hello there, Seraphim17 once again. This is my Resident Evil 4 professional no damage run. I almost forgot what I was saying. This is chapter 3-2, and this is part 1. This is one of the hardest parts of my playthrough. And you might wonder why. Why is this any harder than the stuff you've already done or the stuff we're about to see? Well, simple. The invisible bugs that I'm going to be fighting in this area, I cannot remember how I used to fight them, but I don't remember having a good strategy, and when I got to them on this, I did not have a good strategy. Everything else, I kind of knew how to fight. So this was, I didn't know where they were, I didn't know where they spawned from, I didn't know what they did. I assumed I just used to shotgun them, and that's pretty much what you're going to see me doing here, but it involves a lot of hiding and a lot of trial and error, so this took a long time to record. And it's only a small section, but it was just really tricky. Like, I'd think I'd done it, and then I'd get jumped, or, you know, I'd just get silly bits of damage from stuff that I just didn't see coming. And luckily enough, you don't fight them too often, so you're not going to see too much of it. And I didn't struggle too much of it, but this is definitely one of the hardest parts for me, just because I don't know the enemies. But you'll notice these videos are pretty long. They're all about 26 minutes, 20 minutes long, because the chapters themselves are quite long, and that's when I split them up, so that's like 40 minutes per chapter. But it's funny, it's not hard to commentate over them. Like some videos, I like to make them shorter and split them up into segments, because it's easier on your psyche. It's easier on, you know, your morale. Sometimes when you look at the video and you're like 20 minutes, you just think, Jesus Christ. And I think that's just fatigue from the fact that I've done this on over 3,000 videos. You know, I've been doing it for nearly 4 years, and not to sound ungrateful, but you know, the content doesn't get the exposure that I would like it to be, so sometimes the motivation and the drive can be difficult, you know, compared to like 2 years ago when I was super idealistic. I was super just, you know, build it and they'll come, build it and they'll come, and I just kind of soldiered on. And I'm not going to say I deluded myself, I just, you know, I was passionate and I let that passion just take control. And I do that a lot. Like, I focus in on things, and I'm not going to say I obsess so much, but I get tunnel vision-y. Like, sometimes it'll be music, where I'll get super into music. Sometimes it'll be writing, when I get super into writing. Sometimes it'll be games, you know. Sometimes it's films. It just depends on what's taking my particular flavour. And I focus all my energies into it, and I've been focusing all my energies into this for a long time, through the hope of it becoming something that I can say is a job that supports me, and then I can be one of those rare people that says they love what they do. And that's proven to be much difficult than I anticipated. So you're inevitably going to face burnout when you do anything, you know, constantly for long periods of time. And it's always fun to have a project like this, which reminds me why I started doing it. Because games were hard. You know, games needed walkthroughs. Now they don't. And YouTube's made it so that, you know, only these people that have this massive protection from partnerships can make these playthroughs that don't deserve all the views they get. And as much as I really like doing playthroughs and I find them a lot easier, I'm a guide maker. It's kind of what I do. It's kind of what I love. By the way, if you can shoot these things in the face where they're dribbling from, it's a one-shot kill. But it's really tricky because they move their head so much. Like, that was an insta-kill on him. And that's ideally what you want to do for them all. But I'm just not good enough to do that. I'm not experienced enough or practiced enough to get them every time. But when you open this door, there's this fella here. And he's walking around, which makes it slightly tougher to shoot him. But you want to just get for the jaw if you can. Get that face shot. That hit. He did, but he's not dead. So I shoot him again, and it doesn't do anything, so I back up. I think this resets him when you open this door, and then if you look, you can see him just kind of stood there. Yeah, there we go, and I should be able to get the free headshot. That was a kill shot. And the music's just subsided, which tells us that that moment is over. So I'm going to put the shotgun back on because there's going to be a handful more of these dudes when we go back to the room, and they're going to surprise you, so you need to be on the ball. Because if you let them surprise you, you're going to have to do the entire thing again, facing all these dudes, and it's not that fun. So like I've mentioned, guys, not very proficient against this enemy. I don't know it, so these parts are going to be rougher than the humanoids. And the checkpoints here, not so great either. You have to go through a lot of stuff when you fuck up, and I fucked up a lot. Oh. Oh. Terrible. Yeah. Don't really want to shoot at these things when they're moving when you're me, because I suck. Yeah, I really suck. That's all my sniper ammo. Why did I do that? See? Even on a run such as this, I can show you how not to play the game. Which is funny. I was watching a Wings of Redemption video the other day, who is a guy that I've been subscribed to for a few years, and I watch his stuff on and off. It all depends on what he's on about, and I personally like him when he's down and out on the world, when he's being all super cynical and ranty, because that's my favourite kind of Wings. You know, that's when I find him most entertaining. And at this moment in time, he is trying to be, you know, positive and things, and play the YouTube game a little better, because his channel is apparently dwindling. And he mentioned a fear of doing a first playthrough because he didn't want people to make a "this is how you don't play this game" video, like what people do to Darkside Phil. And I can't imagine ever that being my first thought. Like, the reason why Darkside Phil gets those videos made about him is not because he's bad at the games, it's not because he makes mistakes about the games, it's because the commentary that he has, he blames the game all the time. Like, everybody blames games at some points. Everybody thinks something is unfair that perhaps is more fair than they would like to give it credit. Everybody has those moments because it's a human response to something that, you know, you disagree with. But the problem with that dude, the reason I watch him, is just the heights of his delusion when it comes to the game being broken. And it could all be an act, you know? Who knows? I like to think it's an act, but he's too good at it for it to be an act, and I don't think he's that good at acting, so it's just, he fervently believes the mechanic, the pad, the AI, the scripting, whatever he wants to blame on any given moment is the reason why he was unable to do something, and never himself. And it is that continuation of refusal to accept his own flaws that makes those videos as funny as they are, and makes those videos what they are. People would not make them if he did not blame the game as much. So he's his own worst enemy for that type of stuff. But Wings, I don't think he would blame the game like that. I don't think he would openly say, you know, they fucked up, the game developers are crap, you know. I think he would admit it was his fault. And that's the distinction here. So to me, the fear of having a mock video made about you has never really surfaced in my brain, because it's his mentality that people are trying to offend, not necessarily his gameplay. Because as we see on YouTube day in, day out, you know, nobody wants to watch a perfect run. Nobody wants to watch somebody destroy a game. They want to watch someone who's shit so they can feel superior and laugh. And that's exactly what, you know, Darkside Phil offers. Although I don't really think he's that bad at games. He's just not great. And you know, not everybody can be great at games. As you get older, your reflexes slow. You know, he's probably not as good as he used to be. And I personally think it's really funny to watch him play them, which is why I actually watch that channel. And I don't watch it ironically, I don't watch it out of hate, I watch it because I think it's funny. And it's not necessarily the funny that Phil himself thinks, because I don't think I've ever seen anybody who thinks they're as funny as he thinks he is, which... it's kind of amazing in a weird way. Look at that, I love that. Big fan of that. The reason I did that is, if you don't, they all run away, and it's a good opportunity to get some gold here. And I'm trying to stop them by triggering the door to come down by running towards it, if you're wondering. So I can trap them in this room, and I can get whatever they're dropping. But I have to change my weapon, and I also have to get them off me. So I'm going to climb up these stairs, because there's a lot of dudes, and the stairs are a fantastic opportunity to do this, which is otherwise known as come up my ladder, say hello to my knife. And I think the fall kills them because they've took the damage from the fire grenade. Yeah, that's pretty convenient. Do like how the blood splashes on the screen. I missed that. Can you remember when it was a big thing and then it just kind of vanished? Like Gears of War, when you chainsawed people and your screen was just a shitfest of blood, or when you got shotgunned and your screen was a shitfest of blood, it wasn't useful, it wasn't helpful, but God, it was visceral. And there's something to be said about that just panic moment of, Jesus Christ, this is insane. Like, a good one was Rainbow Six Vegas, the very first one. What happened on that is when you got shot, your screen went super high exposure, really bright, and every white was just blossomed into, you know, some kind of ray from the sun, some kind of celestial bloody pillar of light, and it made it super hard to see things, which was massively counterintuitive, but it looked great. And then if you got hit again without regenerating, you went to, you know, the edge of death, and the edge of death was the complete opposite. It was this really dark screen, like the colours had faded and bled, and you couldn't see a damn thing. And I'm under no illusions that those two screens were completely useless when it came to defending yourself, but the first one I loved, the second one not so much. And I'm a big fan of, you know, stylistically not necessarily functional but awesome looking damage screens. Like Gears always baffled me with that, where they put the cog in the centre of the damn screen so you can't really see out except for a big giant cog. And it was useful at the same time. It was dodgy. Like I'm making a no damage Onimusha Dawn of Dreams game walkthrough, and that is a slightly older game for the PS2, which has minimal camera control. At times you can do it quite well, at others you really can't, and some of the standard positions for the camera, especially when they're behind your character, put him in the centre of the screen, and it doesn't work on this kind of game. So what it does is you and your bulking body essentially block all view the player has of the enemy, so you can't see what attacks are coming your way. And the amount of times I got cheesily hit by bullshit because I couldn't fucking see because of my big fat head was far too many. And this is kind of turning into like No Damage June. I've only just realised, like, we've got this one going, we've got an Onimusha playthrough going that's going to be the same. And for anybody worried, I'm not going to turn into a channel that does stuff like that, because I'm not a no damage player. It's not how I naturally play. I do enjoy it every so often for an extra challenge, but it's just something that, like, it really, really takes a high level of patience to compensate for the moments where your skill just isn't, you know, as high as it needs to be to succeed. Notice I have 219,000 pesetas. That's a lot of pesetas. Although, when I was last in Spain, I think in Tenerife they had pesetas, which is, I don't know if Spain owns those islands. I think it technically does. They're the Canary Islands, you know, near the like off the side. I think they had pesetas, and pesetas sound like you have tons, but you really don't. Like, I think 2,000 pesetas is not as high as it should be. You know, it's like inflation in like fucking Russia when they just had those wheelbarrows full of notes. Like, I would like a Mazda, please. Okay, let me just count this wad of money. Which, just think in the future, we're going to get like that. Taxes keep increasing, inflation keeps going up, you know, wages keep going up. It's going to get to the point where we're all going to be paid millions of pounds to do menial things because everything costs billions of pounds. And, like, where does it end then? Do we just all agree that we made this money concept up, so let's get rid of this imaginary debt bullshit and go back to the beginning? Or do we do the equivalent of going to, was it decimalization, where we had all this funny money that had dodgy names like crowns, and I can't even remember sterling, and what were the fucking other ones, like threepenny bits? What the hell's a threepenny bit? You know, 2.5 pence coins and stuff. And then we changed that into this new stuff that people didn't think would take off, but now, you know, you can't remember anything else. And then we created the euro, which half of Europe adhered to, which was essentially just, I don't know, man, what the fuck's the euro about? I'm so glad we didn't adopt it. It looks cool as money, but its value is just dodgy. This is a tough room because of archers. It's also a tough room because this game is a bloody cheating bastard. So you'll notice that up there is a red-robed skull helmet dude. You'd think, well, why don't you just shoot that dude? Well, you can't, guys, unless you're playing, I think, the GameCube and you have a fully powered-up rifle. If you have that, you can headshot him and instantly kill him. But on this game, you can't. That's not an option. I've fired a rocket at the dude, and he lives, just so he can spawn the turret in the middle of this room. And the turret is another example of a third-person shooter that favours the right-hand side, that does not have cover. You know? It's one of those moments where how the hell did the developers think you were going to have the time to damage this dude in between his bursts? Because not only does he bend down, not giving you a shot, but, you know, with the wobbly aimer, it's a really tricky shot to make. So this is a challenging room. But I'm going to get rid of the archer guys. And on my test playthrough, I chased the red guy down, I shotgunned him over, and I proceeded to just stun lock him on the ground with gunfire. And because we're on professional, I didn't want to do that, and because I was going for no damage, that strategy involved taking a little bit of damage as well, because there was a guy who swings and I could never get past him without taking a hit, which I knew coming into this room that I wasn't going to be able to use that strategy. And I do have a decent one, but the turret sucks so bad, because it sprays so much damage your way that you can get hit in cover, because of the detection on the bullets and the detection on your character. So it makes this kind of RNG heavy when it comes to not taking damage, and not many moments of this game are. A lot of them are literally down to you and how you control the environment and the enemies, and I like that. I don't like this. So here is a helmet dude. Helmet dudes take suplexes like bosses. They're just not in the mood of having their head smashed. Oh wow! Apparently that one didn't. That's very strange. I don't know why that happened. I obviously know nothing about Resident Evil 4. But there's some sniper ammo. That is really valuable for the upcoming sequence. I think I'm going to try and shoot him here just to showcase this motherfucker. I also apologise if I'm swearing more than normal, guys. I don't know why that is. I like swearing. I don't really see the problem with it. Obviously, I understand the social convention of it and how it is on a list of words that we are told from a very young age that morality is not very fond of, and thus we shouldn't do them. But to me, it's, you know, I find it, when it's used tastefully, and I mean tastefully as in when it's used and it's funny, then it's cool. But I was raised very strict to be against swearing. I have had washing up liquid in my mouth for swearing when I was younger. Hey, we got him. Can we get him again? No, because I suck. Oh, that's so sad. He's got a lot of life as well, that dude. A lot of life. But it's all good. We're going to go through this next area, and there's going to be a couple of dudes with shields and a couple of dudes with flails, maces. Ooh. Bookshelf full of money. I could do with finding a few of them. But knowing my luck, it'd be like cursed Aztec gold. And I'd end up being in a Pirates of the Caribbean movie, which at this point is the equivalent to just, you know, critical suicide. Because those films... I loved that first film. And I did not like any of the others. How do you piss away so much potential? It just baffles me. It's kind of like The Matrix, only I think you can, if you turn your brain off and you don't look at them as sequels, you can watch the two Matrix sequels and just enjoy the stupidity and the special effects. But the Pirates of the Caribbean movies have got such strange pacing and superfluous like interludes that you're just like, what the fuck are they doing this for? Why are they there? Why is this happening? Johnny Depp, why? You know, Tim Burton's over there wanting you to make a movie with his wife. Stop doing this bullshit. But this is the moment where this gets hard. So you'll notice burst of gunfire stops to give you an opportunity to reprise. Burst of gunfire stops. I cannot stress how much the gunfire is bullshit, because it can hit you when it shouldn't be able to hit you. Like right now, I could get hit. If I get unlucky, he will hit me. It's happened. And I have a very small window to hit him. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to wait for him to stop, I'm going to push out, I'm going to aim, and I'm going to hold my breath and hope it works. And it's tricky. But we'll get it. So pop you out. You've got to commit, 'cause if you don't, he'll hit you. There we go. That knocks him off. Don't think it killed him, though. I can't quite tell. Oh, it did. Music stopped, and you get the little cutscene. So that sequence looked very simple. I can assure you, folks, it's not. Just try it. It's pretty tricky, but once you understand what you're doing, you should have success. So thank you for watching, and you take care now.